And welcome to Lunchtime Politics on television. I'm Millicent Walker. On the news this hour, President Buhari has directed the Central Bank of Nigeria to stop providing foreign exchange for importation of food into the country. And 2 months after inauguration, several state governors are yet to put up a cabinet. Even those who are re-elected still run government without statutory cabinet appointments. The People's Democratic Party has cried out to President Buhari over the alleged abduction of the party leader in Kogi State, asking the military, the police and the DSS to speak up on the matter. Welcome everyone to the program, and it is with the order of President Muhammadu Buhari to the Central Bank of Nigeria that we start off with the news this hour. The president has directed that no more Forex for food importation into Nigeria. The attainment of food security and improvement in agricultural production is still very paramount to the president, and that's why he has instructed the Central Bank of Nigeria to stop providing foreign exchange for the importation of food into the country. President Muhammadu Buhari believes that with the current improvement in agricultural production, his action will encourage food sufficiency in the country. President Buhari mentioned this Tuesday after hosting some governors from the All Progressives Congress to lunch at his country home in Daura. He says the foreign reserve will be conserved and utilized strictly for diversification of the economy and not for encouraging more dependence on foreign food import bills. The president says, quote, "Don't give a cent to anybody to import food into the country. We have achieved food security, and for fiscal security, we are not doing badly." States like Kebbi, Ogun, Lagos, Jigawa, Ebonyi, and Kano had already taken advantage of the federal government's policy on agriculture with huge returns in rice farming. End of quote. The president is also encouraging more states to plug into the ongoing revolution to feed the nation. On matters concerning the youth, President Buhari says he is particularly delighted that young Nigerians, including graduates, had started exploring agribusiness and entrepreneurship, with many posting testimonies of good returns on their investments. He further explained that the incoming ministers will be taught and thoroughly guided to ensure they meet the targets of the APC-led government for the people, with regular monitoring of their performances, scaling up of targets by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. The governors who met with the president are from Lagos, Ekiti, Kebbi, Kaduna, Edo, Osun, Nasarawa, and Katsina states. So now let's look at some of the figures and the implications of the president's order to the Central Bank of Nigeria. And we're beginning with a few details, information from ECI, and that's Economic Complexity Index. Explain the knowledge accumulated in a population in one's economic activity. And the first they're saying is that Nigeria is the 52nd largest importer in the world, and they import commodities like wheat, corn, rice, raw sugar cane, and also dairy products. It further went ahead to say Nigeria consumes over $22 billion of foreign exchange annually. But over at the CBN gives figures like Nigeria's monthly import bill falling from $665.4 million in January 2015 to about $160.4 million as of October 2018. From the CBN, there was a 97.3% cumulative reduction in monthly rice import bills, 99.6% in fish, 81.3% in milk, 63.7% in sugar, and 60.5% in wheat. Declines were steadily recorded in monthly food import bill from $665.4 million in January 2015 to $160.4 million as of October 2018. Also from the CBN, Central Bank Nigeria, a cumulative fall of 75.9% and an implied savings of over $21 billion was recorded on food imports. Well, I'm being joined by an economist and CEO of Power Assets Company, Mr. Johnson Chukwu, to give us a sense of what this means altogether. I'd like to thank you for joining us at this time. And start by asking, Nigeria's president telling the central bank not to fund food imports. Do you agree with this? Will this result to full food security for the country?
Well, that's one of the challenges we're going to have with the pronouncement of the president. One is that we are not yet food sufficient. You recall that in your presentation, there are a couple of the food items that we import today, we don't have enough capacity to produce. Take for instance wheat, which is a major step to most families in the country. If you restrict the importation of wheat, you are not going to have bread because we will not be able to develop cassava bread in the country. So you have a number of the food items today that if you restrict their importation, you will degrade the standard of living of Nigerians because we still do not have enough of those food items produced locally. But that is even one aspect of the problem. The other aspect of the problem, which is of greater concern to analysts like me, is that the president's pronouncement impinges on the independence and autonomy of the central bank. The president has tools like the physical tools, like the use of customs tariff to restrict importation of any item or discourage importation of any item. It is not the duty of the president to give directives to the central bank on how to allocate foreign exchange. And once you do that, you actually go to tug on the independence of the central bank, and that would be of greater concern to investors, both local and foreign investors.
So are you saying that if it's not the duty of the president to do that, looking at the CBN rules, then are you saying that the central bank governor can also refuse to act on what the president has said?
It's not just even the word you refuse. The central bank governor is not allowed by the CBN Act to take directives from the president. What the central bank can do is to take the president's statement as part of the pool of advice and then go and look at the implications of such on the economic stability of the country, on the monetary policies, on the interest rates, on inflation rates, and then they can decide whether to include that statement in their consideration of what to do, not necessarily to take a directive from the president and say, look, you must restrict access to Forex for those importing food items. Once the central bank takes that line of action and is borne solely by the president's directive, a chain of events could actually begin to spiral out. We've had instances where the central bank governors in the past, in other countries, had the authority eroded by the president, and the implication always you have instances of high inflation rates, you have instances of flights for safety by foreign direct investors and foreign portfolio investors. The case of Turkey is a living case, where the lira went on a free fall because the Turkish president eroded the independence of the central bank by saying that the central bank was the mother of all evil. The central bank interest was the mother of all evil and wanted to control the interest rates. We know the case of Venezuela. Even bringing it back home, we know when the executive arm of government announced the restriction of access to Forex to those who are sending their children to school outside the country, we saw the implications. People began to run away from the Naira, and you saw a flight to even local people who had no business with code.
But Mr. Chukwu,
converting their local.
What about those who argue that if we don't actually stop this importation, we won't be able to grow locally?
Well, there's no country in the world that is 100% independent. And we must know that the world is interdependent. So that's what we call comparative advantage. You focus on producing those you can produce more efficiently and cheaper, and then import or buy from those who you can produce other things better than you can do. We can't be jack of all trades. There's no country in the world that can say that they produce everything they consume. What you should be pushing is that for those food items that we have comparative advantage, let's bracket up the production like cassava, like palm oil, cocoa, where we have relative comparative advantage. We should be able to increase our production to the level we export to other countries. Then we want to import things like wheat, which our climatic condition will not allow us to produce.
Finally, when we look at the signing of the AFCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, are we moving one step forward, 5 steps back?
Well, in the first place, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is not yet operational. But my advice to the government and to the Nigerian bureaucrats is that we should begin to evolve policies that will ensure that Nigeria becomes the destination for those who want to come and produce in Africa and Central African countries. Because we already have a natural market given the size of our population. And for us to do that, we must be conscious of the policies we make. We must not make policies that will run contrary to the spirit of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement we just signed in. And most importantly, we must focus on developing our areas of core competence, not necessarily trying to do everything, because you really can't do everything.
All right, we appreciate your time. Economist, CEO, Cowrie Assets, Mr. Johnson Chukwu, for joining us on the program. Well, the holidays are over, but some memories might linger, especially the ones shared within the political leadership of the ruling All Progressives Congress, the APC. Some governors of the party, led by the Governors Forum Chairman, Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State, Lagos Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Kaduna State Governor, and others visited the president at his home in Daura, Katsina State. Some other National Assembly leaders, like the Deputy President of Senate, Senator Ovio Mwagege, also called at the president's home. It was at that visit where the president hinted his determination on food sufficiency and efforts of the federal government on agric business. President Muhammadu Buhari is expected today in Batsari, and this is one of 8 frontline local government areas disturbed with activities of banditry and kidnapping in Katsina State. Channels Television gathers that arrangements have reached top gear at the Batsari Local Government Secretariat, and security tightened to receive the president, who will be coming by air from his hometown in Daura. Batsari Local Government is reportedly becoming kidnappers and bandits' headquarters in the state. After this visit, the president is also expected back to Katsina to commission a state road project in Shinkafi, Yandaki, Gafia, Abdallawa, Dankabo Road in Katsina State. The president will also commission Fago, Katsayal, Kwasarawa, Jardede, Koza Road, followed by the commissioning of Kwana, Sapke, Dan Anwa, Dutsi Road. The governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has transmitted a second batch of cabinet lists to the State Assembly for consideration and screening. This is coming 4 weeks after the governor sent the first batch of the list to lawmakers for screening. Well, on the second list, 13 commissioners and special advisor designates made that list, which had already been transmitted to the legislature. The list is the spokesperson of the Lagos State APC, Mr. Joey Bokwe, a former governorship aspirant in Lagos, Mr. Tukumbo Wahab.